Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Well, it's finally here. Genefather. The next step forward for Belisarius' call and the mainline narrative. I don't know about you, but for me, it feels like we've been waiting ages for this. I know we got the Son of the Lion not too long ago, the return of Lionel Johnson, so hey, we can't really complain. But I guess at this point that's still very separate to Guilliman and the main story, as I'd call it. At least until their big reunion. But here we are, the next big step forward. We'll be diving into the individual moments and discussing what they mean and where it's headed as usual over the days ahead. However, today we're just reacting and discussing to it all in general, covering the standout spoilers I found throughout. So without further ado, let's just waste no time and jump straight in. Now, the premise here is Belisarius calling on a bunch of Forge Worlds for assistance in making his own version of the Necron pylon system. He can make an individual pylon, but when it comes to establishing a network, getting them all to communicate and work in sync, well, that's where he needs some help. And this is the first real talking point. He needs help because Guilliman's had enough, and his time has run out. Belisarius receives his latest message from Guilliman on his end of the call inferior. And well, Guilliman's as diplomatic as ever, but it's clear he's had enough of waiting. Of Belisarius's lack of communication. Guilliman reveals it's the eve of him leaving Imperium Sanctus. So, finally, Guilliman is crossing into the Dark Imperium. The invasion of Imperium Nihilus is beginning. And we are on the road to that big reunion. Guilliman finding out he is no longer alone. L. Johnson is back. This is absolutely fantastic news, even Lion aside, simply for the new narrative possibilities it opens up. Now across the rift, the Imperium's true fight back against the strongholds of chaos can absolutely begin. And I cannot wait to see this unravel. Hopefully Guilliman's next book isn't too far off either. Now, as for the message, Guilliman's pretty matter-of-fact with Call, telling him that he's late. He'd promised to have results by now, and well, he hasn't. He hasn't produced anything. And Guilliman can't wait anymore. He orders Call to run their agreed pylon experiment and give him the results within 1 year. And he makes it clear, whether it works or not, he just needs to know. Even though Call has promised he can be the salvation of the Imperium, of the galaxy, if he can't, Guilliman will adjust. And I actually really like this development, because it's about time Guilliman put some pressure on Call's shoulders. Let's be honest here, Call's really been taking the mick with his lack of communication, with his attitude and actions in many respects. Yes, the intent is ultimately honourable, there's no doubt about that anymore. But this is a son of the Emperor. This is the Imperial Regent and Lord Commander. This is a Primarch. And Call has pushed his luck a little too much for me. He's lucky it's Guilliman who returned, because I can think of a few who would most certainly not have been as lenient. Now, 1 year may sound like it's not that urgent, but let's not forget this is the Imperium we're talking about. Virtually everything takes more than a year, so Guilliman's demand is pretty finite. Call needs to give Guilliman an answer, and give it to him now. No more messing around. And this is what leads to Call calling for a meeting with a bunch of Forge Worlds favourable to his way of thinking. Because now, thanks to Guilliman, time has run out. And there's absolutely no way he could face saying he can't do something. His ego's far too big for that. So he has no choice. He needs to call on other Forge Worlds to help him get results within 1 year. We also get some interesting revelations and confirmations regarding Call's actual transgressions here as well. Through Call's inner thoughts, we learn he has indeed lied to Guilliman about the Call Inferior. And it is indeed artificial intelligence. Something we highly expected before, but now know for a fact. Not only has Call installed an artificial intelligence machine on Guilliman's own flagship, he's also used xenotechnology to do it. That's right, Guilliman is sailing around the stars with a heretical artificial intelligence communications device. And not only that, it's made with a bunch of xenotechnology. If you wanted the perfect example of Call's flaunting of the rules, his disregard for the trust of Guilliman, well, here's the perfect example. He just can't help himself. He simply goes too far. And he's even made an AI program of Guilliman to speak with as well, to judge how Guilliman may react to certain situations. Something he actually made prior to Guilliman's revival, to gauge how or what the Primarch may be like before he awoke. Now, it's most certainly not a perfect copy of Guilliman's mind, and I'd love to know how on earth he managed to make it before Guilliman even awoke. But the list of heresy just keeps growing and growing. You can't help but feel Belisarius really is his own worst enemy. And it's only a matter of time, surely, before it all blows up in his face. I mean, I understand the logic in wanting to have an idea how Guilliman may react before resurrecting him. But Belisarius had met him before. And even if he has no memory of it, due to his highly suspicious memory wipes, there's absolutely nothing in Guilliman's history that'd suggest he'd do something particularly bad. This is Guilliman we're talking about here, not Angron. However, we'll debate this another day. There's a hint that Call's use of AI may come back to haunt him, as Guilliman ends the message with a firm demand for Call to cease his requests to be made Fabricator General, as quite simply it's never going to happen. Guilliman doesn't have the authority to do it, and even if he did, the political pressure would be galactic suicide. However, Belisarius genuinely, it appears to me, has no idea what Guilliman's going on about. And so he comes to the worrying conclusion it must be the AI of the Call Inferior aboard Guilliman's ship, deciding to make the requests itself. Now, Call doesn't have any answers or solution to this problem, and in light of the pylon problem, he decides he'll have to worry about it another day. But the seeds of this AI development all feel like it could well continue to build down the road. I really don't think Guy Hayley would have brought this problem up if it wasn't going to lead anywhere. And there's really nothing Call can do about it without returning to reunite with Guilliman aboard his flagship. The final interesting point from Guilliman's message was his desire to ensure the Primaris technology can roll out successfully across the Rift, and so he requested Call send him his most able assistant if he can't come himself, which of course means Cuvo will be heading across the Rift as well with Guilliman. And Cuvo is confirmed to be pretty much an artificial intelligence device as well. So let's just keep tallying up those heresies of Belisarius. From there, the story continues along, with Fabius Bile executing his plan to steal the Sang Primus Portum from Belisarius, the Emperor's secrets in creating the Primarchs and Legions. This discussion isn't a review, so I'll stick to my big spoiler talking points. However, it is an enjoyable read for me. I really enjoy the character of Call Guy Hayley has developed over his time with him. Here, in the great work, And Wolfsbane, despite all the mystery and questions around him, there's an equally likeable character behind it all. The man buried deep within Call's egos. He does genuinely care. Now, moving on to Call's meetings with the Forge World representatives, it all takes place on a mysterious artificial flat world, which seems to have been made at the height of the lost age of technology. It's something theorized to have been some form of diplomatic meeting ground between humanity and the Eldari Empire. However, at this point this is just a theory by Cuvo. Call's intentions, revealed to his fellow Magoses, is to use Necron Chronomancer technology to travel back in time to the Necron Empire, when the pylon system was at its peak. Seeing as Belisarius no longer has the time to figure it out for himself, he intends to steal the technology he needs from the Necrons themselves. Yet again, all highly heretical and adamantly against the decrees of Mars. Of course, the meetings are interrupted by the arrival of Fabius Bile and his forces, ultimately boarding Call's flagship, whereupon Fabius successfully fools Call and Alpha Primus into thinking he wanted the Sang Primus Portum, because, as it all turns out, it was a trick all along. Bile knew he wouldn't be able to get that most prized of artifacts, that the security would be too strong, and instead, with the aid of one of his new men, his own genetic experimentations, he defeats Alpha Primus in battle and takes his gene seed. Fabius Bile's secret aim the entire time. Belisarius arrives at the pivotal moment and is faced with a choice of stopping Bile or saving Alpha Primus's life. And in a revelation of Belisarius's true emotion, he chooses to save Alpha Primus, who he views as his son. And this is where it got particularly interesting, as Bile, who throughout had been largely unimpressed with Call's Primaris creations, saying he could have made them anytime he liked, actually marvels at Alpha Primus's gene seed as soon as he sees it, teasingly saying things along the line of, "I'm guessing you never told Gilliman, and why didn't he use his full powers?" And Belisarius even questions to himself just what Alpha Primus is. The first Primaris, an experiment, a defiance to Mars. And it all leaves us with the question we've been asking for so long. What is Alpha Primus? We still don't know. For me, I hope he's not a Call-created Primarch, as, I dunno, I feel that kind of tarnishes the Primarchs in a way, the ultimate creations of the Emperor. There was a mention from Bile that he sensed the Cyclops in Alpha Primus, i.e. Magnus the Red. So maybe he's a creation of all the Primarch lineages, or a combination, maybe all the traitor gene seed merged together. Either way, I don't think he is a Primarch, but he's quite clearly something very unique, something that Call believes he will be killed for when it's found out. I think the key line could be the defiance to Mars remark, but again we'll debate that in depth soon, maybe next up on Wednesday. However, for Bile, it ends with him leaving very happy. He is now able to get Abaddon off his back, whatever that means, and then free for fresh experimentations. So, does that mean we're about to get Chaos Primaris, or something else entirely? Again, we'll discuss all the possibilities over the days ahead, as it's all pretty open at the moment on where you may think it's going to go. The obvious answer is Primaris, but Bile did claim he could have done that anytime he liked. Maybe that was bravado, maybe not. I have a sneaky feeling it could be something else. As for Fabius Bile's later experimentations, now that he has Primus's gene seed? Well, that is quite clearly going to be something big, and not Primarch related either, as he's clearly over that fascination. And for Belisarius himself, it ends with most of the Forge Worlds agreeing to help him, but one intending to report him to Mars for heresy. And this time, I think this reporting is going to matter. Surely the Fabricator General can't overlook attempting illegal time travel. As far as heresies go, that's got to be right at the top of the list. And that's where it all really ends. So to sum up, coming out of this one, we have a whole host of possibilities for the future. Roboute is finally crossing the rift. Belisarius's lies to Guilliman are worse than even we originally believed. Far more AI and lines crossed than we thought. Guilliman's starting to rein him in a little bit, or at least putting his foot down a little more. Belisarius is about to cross a line that Mars will not forgive, and we could finally start to see the Fabricator General himself showing up. Alpha Primus's creation riddle continues to evolve, with us now knowing he at least has Magnus's gene seed in there somewhere. And Fabius Bile has his mysterious gene seed in his possession, which he's going to use to get Abaddon off his back, and then start his own experimentations. Now that is how it's done. 6 intriguing narrative avenues for me that I absolutely think we are going to see unwind over the months and years ahead. This installment, Genefather, wasn't quite a big move forward in itself, but what it has done brilliantly is set up and develop all of these individual narrative areas, which again I strongly believe we are going to see subtly develop within the shadows and even maybe explode front and center. A lot of good conversations to come, and definitely a few I want to have this week. But as always everyone, what do you think? Have you read Genefather yet, and what do you think about the revelations therein? Which of Call's transgressions do you feel are going to cost him? Or do you think we may even see them all come crashing down around him? Again, we'll dive into and debate these some more this week, as man, there's some fascinating debates and theories to discuss. But that's it for today everyone. Huge thank you to all my subscribers. Your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. If you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow, and if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.